Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Wisdom Wednesday. So remember, here on our Wisdom Wednesday, this is just a generalized spiritual discussion. And what I do is I just tune in and I see what are the energies that we're currently working with. And then I just pick a topic and a tool or a technique that we can use so that we can really move through this energy that we're currently in. And so this week, I wanted to use the topic. Hey, Donna, thanks for joining. Thanks for being here. So this week, I wanted to take the topic of peace and some of our obstacles to peace and how we can begin to overcome those obstacles to peace. Because in the world right now, the world just seems to be going really crazy. And it seems like, we're just being swept in waves of, craziness. Hey, Karen, thanks for joining. Thanks for being here. And so I want to just share some of the ways that we can really regain that peace. But before we talk about regaining that peace, let's go ahead and let's touch on at least 3 ways, that's what we're going to be talking about today, 3 ways in which our peace is disturbed or that we could say is an obstacle to our peace. And so the first thing that is the obstacle to our peace is our own sense of projection. And so projection, we're either projecting to the future or projecting to the past. And we're either bringing our projection of the past into the present moment and then recreating that past, or we are projecting into the future and projecting our own anxieties, which we know where those come from. They actually come from the past. So it's that projection game that we play. That's one of our biggest obstacles to peace is remaining in the present moment. Because in the present moment, there is nothing wrong. In the present moment, everything is exactly as it should be. But see, here's what happens. That good old game of projection starts coming into place, and that's where we start our judgments. So one way that I think would be really helpful is with this card right here. And this comes from the Oracle of the Angels. And this is the Here and Now card. And it comes with a beautiful affirmation. And it says, I live in the here and now, always conscious of my active presence within the universe and of my work on earth. I choose to live in the present moment. Okay, so right there is such a key phrase. I choose to live in the present moment. That is our choice. We have this ability to choose where our mind is focused. Are we going to be focused in the past and say, oh, well, in the past this happened, and oh, in the past that happened, and oh, in the past this, and well, there's nothing I can, Or are we going to choose to live in the future? Well, this could happen. This might happen. I kind of need to, this should, or this could happen. Or it should have happened, or it's this, or it's that. And that's where we get this choice. We can either choose to live in the past and continue to recreate it, or we can choose to live in the future and live in constant anxiety of what we have to do or what we think we should do next or what's on the schedule, what's on the routine. And schedule and routine are fine, but we have to leave a little bit of room for spontaneity, a little bit of room for miracles, a little bit of room for the divine. And that's where we get this choice to say, you know what? I could see things and judge things from the past, or I could see things or judge things from the future, but let me focus here and now. And here's one of the best tools that I ever learned, and it was from Tony Robbins. It's the simplest, easiest tool that you can do, and it takes you less than a minute. And in our high-paced world, that's what we're always looking for. We're looking for the quick fix, the quick, come on, let's do it, let's do it, let's do it. So here's one that you can use. If you start to find yourself drifting to the past or projecting to the future, but before we get into the tool, how do we know if we're drifting into the past? Well, we can tell by our emotions. And usually, I'm not going to say all the time, but I'm going to say a good majority of the time, we move into longing. Oh, the good old days. Oh, I'm lacking this because then I had it, but I don't have it now. So kind of that projection to the past. Or we know we're projecting to the future because we go into anxiety, or we go into that sense of like terror of what might be. We start projecting all of these scenarios. So how do we know if we're starting to project into the past or into the future? You can tell by your emotional state. And that's something that we do not pay enough attention to. We don't pay attention to those emotions. We think they just come out of nowhere. Your emotions are your guideposts. They're telling you where your focus is and what your thoughts and beliefs are. That's all they're doing. They're not good. They're not bad. They're guiding. They're saying, okay, well, if you want to go into the past and you want to focus on lack and scarcity, the good old days, oh, I wish, into wishful thinking, I wish this was different, I wish this, or going into anxiety and terror, oh my gosh, this might happen, or maybe I need to do this, or maybe I need to do that, that sense of despair or disparity. That's it. So when you start feeling that way, you can be sure that you're projecting into the past or the future. And how do we get ourselves out of that? Like I said, super simple, super easy. Close your eyes. All you got to do, step number 1, we close our eyes. Step number 2, we take a deep breath. Step number 3, we open our eyes and we name 5 things that we see in front of us. And it's not, okay, I see, the bill that I have to pay, or I see this, or I see that. It's just 5 random things. I see a pair of socks on the dresser. I see my bedspread. I see my pillowcase. I see my lamp. I see my fan. I see my headboard. Just 5 things. Then and then we can move on, and then we close our eyes again. We take our deep breath. It's just 1, or maybe you want to take 2. Maybe you even want to take 3. And then you open your eyes again, and then you name 5 things either that you see that you are grateful for, or you keep your eyes closed and you just name 5 things you are grateful for in that moment, regardless if you can see them or not. What does this do? Gratitude snaps us back into the present moment, snaps us back into the here and now, snaps us back into the presence of the divine that we are. Simple and easy, but all too often we don't use these simple, easy tools because we have a tendency to start to wallow in those emotions. Oh, I wish I could be back in the 1990s. Oh, when everything was so simple and easy and this and that. Or, oh, wow, I'm really longing for the future, which is actually going to lead us into our second obstacle to peace. And that is attachment to outcomes. And so you may have in your mind, once you get the right job, once you get the right relationship, once you get the right this, once you get the right that everything's going to fall into place, and then peace is going to reign in your life forever because you finally got the thing that is going to bring you the joy, bring you the peace, bring you the love that you have been missing. Well, I'm here to ask you a simple question. How's that been working out for you? Because you have been chasing outcomes just like I've been chasing outcomes for a good majority of our lives. And how's that working out? Maybe you get 5 minutes of peace. Maybe you get a year of peace. Maybe you even get like 2 years of peace. But then here comes that longing again. Oh, I'm missing something. Something's missing from me. And we start attaching that sense of missingness or that sense of lack. And we start putting that into what? We start putting that into outcomes. Well, now, and this is where I kind of get into the whole thing about manifesting. Manifesting's great. Manifesting shows you the power of your mind and shows you how powerful you truly are. But there comes a point when you reach the plateau of manifesting and you've like manifested all these things. And now it's just kind of like, okay, what do I do now? Where do I go from here? Type of thing. And that's where that obstacle to peace comes in, because then we start saying that, well, the only way I can find peace or the only way I can find happiness is outside of me, which is not true. Okay? Because happiness isn't out there. Peace isn't out there. You're not going to find it in a guru, in a teacher, in a this or a that. That's not where you find peace. Peace is within you. And it's not that you have to find it, because it's not hiding in you. It is there waiting for you to access it. It's not something hidden. It's not something that some people have and other people don't. Everyone has the capacity for peace. Everyone has the capacity to, tune into that. And if you saw my quote for today, the Course in Miracles said it beautifully. It's not about you seeking for love. It's about you seeking out the barriers that you have built to love. And the same thing goes for peace, joy, happiness, ecstasy, exaltation, blessing. Don't seek them out. Instead, seek out the barriers. What are the barriers? The barriers are your own thoughts and beliefs that you have about love, that you have about blessings, that you have about peace. We seek those out, not to fight them and not to conquer them, but to see what they are and surrender them over to the divine so that the divine can do it. Because this leads us into our third obstacle for peace, which is one of the trickiest that the ego plays with us, and that is control. Lord knows the ego loves control. Oh, I have control over this. I have control over that. Look, I get to control this. I get to control that. And it loves it. It loves to put everything in little boxes and little boxes inside boxes and then boxes inside boxes inside boxes. It loves to do that. And it loves to be like, yeah, I get to control this. Well, I get to control when I go eat a sandwich, and I get to control when I go get a drink of water, and I get to control this, and I get to control that. And what we have to ask ourselves isn't so much, am I in control or am I not in control? Because let's be honest, we've never really been in control. But what we can ask ourselves is, who is the I that is needing the control? And why is that I needing control? What does it believe it's going to get out of being in control? Because we try all too often to make our miracles, to be like, okay, this is how I want my miracle to come in. This is who I want to give it to me. This is how I want it to appear, the time frame in which I want it to appear, so forth and so on. Or this is what I want my peace to look like. This is how it should look like. This is who should bring it to me, or this is how it should come about. And then when it doesn't come about, then we get into this sense of like, oh, the universe hates me, or I never get what I want, or something along those lines. We get very dissatisfied. And then from that dissatisfaction, we start this process of being like, well, now I need to go out there. And since the universe isn't going to do it, I need to do it because I know that I can push through and I can make it happen. But it's not that the divine doesn't want to help you. It's not that the divine doesn't want you to be happy and joyful. It's that the divine simply is saying, okay, that's what you want. Great, wonderful. I'm willing to bring you the peace. I'm willing to bring you the joy. I'm willing to bring you the happiness. But let me bring it to you. You don't have to go and chase after it. But that's what we have a tendency to do. We tend to chase after it. We tend to seek for the love, seek for the peace, seek for all these things. And I'm not telling you, don't go out there and find a spiritual practice. But instead of going out there and trying to find the spiritual practice in order to bring you the peace, instead, seek out the practice that will allow you to see what barriers you have constructed to the coming of that peace or to the coming of that joy. And for me, that was A Course in Miracles. A Course in Miracles helped me to see where I put a lot of barriers to love and joy and happiness. I put caps on it and was like, well, this is about as happy as I can be, and this is about as much joy as I can have. And well, I've already kind of reached my limit of miracles or this or that. And none of that was true. Those were barriers that I put up. And in studying the Course, it helped me to bring down those barriers and continue to bring down those barriers. But that's what we have to remember. We have to live in the here and now, and we have to choose that. We have to choose that. And it says, let's go back and let's read a little bit more of this affirmation because I got completely sidetracked on all those different things. So I live in the here and now, always conscious of my active presence within the universe and of my work on earth. I choose to live in the present moment. I am aware of what I create with my thoughts, my words, my deeds. I trust, for I know that all comes to me at the right moment when I am ready. And once again, it's not that the universe is testing you, and I want to make that so perfectly clear. You see me moving my hands because I want to make that clear. The universe does not test you. The universe is not like, well, maybe you're ready, maybe you're not. I'm going to kind of give you a little test to make sure. No. The universe cannot give to you what you are not willing to take, what you're not willing to give to it. So whatever you believe you're lacking, whatever you believe you do not have, ask yourself, am I giving that in my life? Like, if I'm not having love, am I giving love? If I'm not being accepted, am I not accepting myself? Like, there's just lots of different things that you can look at from those perspectives. But we have to be aware of these obstacles. And like I said, the best way we can become aware, just like the affirmation said, let me become aware of my emotions in the moment. And as I become aware of those emotions, then I can become aware of the thoughts. As I become aware of the thoughts, I can become aware of the beliefs. And as I become aware of those beliefs, I get to ask if I want to keep them or not, because underneath there's always a pure desire. There is that desire, but then that desire gets distorted by the beliefs, and then those beliefs get distorted by the thoughts, and the thoughts get distorted, or then the thoughts lead us to these, emotions, and then these emotions lead us to a very distorted perception because we are looking through, different lenses. And we want to look through that lens of peace. We want to look through that lens of happiness, that lens of joy. This is not to say that, that's it. We just try to see sunshine, rainbows, and lollipops. Of course not. We look at what is in front of us. We seek out those barriers to love, joy, peace, happiness. We seek them out. We look at them, and we're willing to give them over in that present moment. Because if something is disturbing our peace in that present moment, okay, that must mean that I believe that this thing can take away my peace or my happiness or my whatever. Nothing can take that away unless we give it that permission. And we're giving it unconscious permission because we're not willing to look at the thoughts and beliefs that are coming up in the thoughts, beliefs, and ideas and emotions that are coming up. It's being like, okay, what is this? Like, what is really happening? Who is the I that's disturbed by this? Because our spirit is never disturbed. Our spirit is always at one, knows the oneness of the universe, knows that all things are life, living life as it should, but it's our ego mind that goes into judgment and so forth and so on. Once again, this doesn't mean we don't take action, but it does mean we take guided action. And guided action from where? From the present moment, not from the past of what we think we should have done, and not from the future of what we think we should do, but from the present moment of asking, Spirit, what would you have me do here? Where would you have me go? What would you have me say? And to whom? Simple as that. And that's what today is all about, the simplicity of finding the present moment. Because another thing that you can begin to do with the present moment, or to find the present moment, is what can you find in this present moment that is satisfying to you? What can you be grateful for? What can you appreciate? Because like I said, appreciation is what snaps us back, or gratitude is what snaps us back into the present moment, into what is, not what should be and not what was, but what is. And that is here and now. So let me get a quick little drink of water here, because it is very hot here in Indiana today. We're at like a heat index of like 98. It's pretty crazy. And I was playing outside with Balto for a little bit before I came live. So let's go ahead and let's do a little bit of a recap here. So we're going to say right now we have about 3 obstacles to peace. There are most likely probably more. But right now we're focusing on the 3 here, okay? So our first one is we're either projecting to the past or projecting to the future. We know that we are projecting to the past or to the future by the way that we feel. We know that we are projecting to the past and bringing it into the present moment because we are in that state of longing, or we're in that state of sadness, we're in that state of longing or wishful thinking for what was. Okay, then we know we're projecting to the future because we're in that sense of anxiety. We're in that sense of terror about what could be. And we start projecting like the worst case scenario. And we're in that anxiety, that panic. So once again, those are the emotional states that we can feel. Excuse me. After we get into that emotional state, we have an opportunity to choose. Okay. So this is how I'm feeling. Do I want to continue to feel this way? Do I want to continue to be in this feeling? No, I don't like it. I let it run through me. Instead of wallowing in it, I can identify it, be like, yeah, I'm projecting to the past, or I'm feeling sad. I'm feeling like I'm in this state of lack or scarcity, not having enough, or whatever the case is, or I am in this state of anxiety, panic, and turmoil. I identify it, I let it run through me. And the best way, like I said, that we can begin to let that run through us, we close our eyes. We take our deep breath. We focus on that deep inhalation in through our nose and then out our mouth. We then open our eyes and we name those 5 things that we see in front of us. Just randomly. You do not have to be specific. This is not about specificity. This is just about, okay, what do I see that's right here in front of me? Then after we do that, we close our eyes again. We take another deep breath, focusing in on that breath in through the nose and then out through the nose or out through the mouth. After we do that, we then open up our eyes again, and we can do 1 or 2 things. We can either, number 1, what am I doing right now? Just naming, what am I doing right now? I'm sitting here doing a live. That's what I'm doing right now. That is my now moment. I am allowing spirit to come through me and use me in order to bring forth information. That is here in this present moment. That is what is currently in this now. Whatever it is for you, that's what you name. If you don't want to do that, or that doesn't feel like it's going to be something, good for you to do in that moment, that's okay. We can either keep our eyes closed or we can keep them open, and we can either name 5 things within our immediate vicinity that we are grateful for, or we can close our eyes and simply name 5 things. And of course, I'm saying 5. You don't have to do 5. You can do I would say minimum 3, maximum 10. But once again, minimum 3, maximum 10. And you can name those things that you appreciate or those people that you appreciate. What does that do? Once again, brings us back into that present moment. This is what I'm doing right here and now. Let me focus on this here and now. Let me focus on this gratitude, because I cannot necessarily, I can be, but it's a lot more powerful when I'm grateful for what is in this moment. That I can focus on. So we know that. That's one of our tools. Second thing that we can then say is our barrier to peace is our attachment to outcomes, saying that it has to show up a certain way and it has to be a certain way, and when it doesn't show up that way, we get really disappointed or dissatisfied, and we're like, oh, the universe hates me, and then we start throwing a little temper tantrum, or whatever the case may be. And what we can say to ourselves when we start to find ourselves attaching to an outcome, saying, this relationship will bring me peace, or this vacation will bring me peace, or this amount of money will bring me peace, or winning the lottery will bring me peace, or this will bring me happiness, but so forth, so on. Taking that deep breath and being like, okay, those things will not bring me happiness. I am the source of my happiness, or I am the source of my peace. The source of peace is within me. The source of happiness is within me. It's not out here. If I'm seeing it out here, then I am attaching to outcomes, or I'm attaching it to items. Items fade. I don't. Items fade. I don't. I do not fade. I do not wither. I do not die. I am eternal. That is what I am. And so just remembering that and just being aware of, okay, why am I focusing out here? What do I believe that this thing is going to bring me that I don't already have? Okay. And then we have our third obstacle to peace. And of course, these are just some obstacles to peace. I'm not saying this is the end all be all list. I'm just saying that this is just a very comprehensive list as of right now in this moment. And if you think of any other ones, then wonderful. You can always put those in the comments and, share what your obstacle to peace is. So others know that they are supported by saying, wow, this person has this obstacle to peace. I share that too. And then maybe if enough people share it, then I can, come on and maybe talk about that and talk about what that is and talk about a tool or a tip that we could use in order to help us get over that obstacle. But anyway, we're going to move on to our last obstacle, which is control and wanting to control things, wanting things to be a specific way, show up in a certain way, show up this and so forth and so on. Basically trying to control the miracle, trying to control life and say, I am the controller of life. I control this. I control that. I am always in constant control. And realizing I am not in control of anything, and I never really have been. And then questioning, okay, who is the I? Once we start to see, okay, I'm starting to see myself wanting to control, which means I'm seeing myself wanting people to act in a particular way, wanting a situation to unfold in a particular way, wanting a situation to unfold in a certain way. I see that, and let me ask myself, instead of being like, well, it's not working, and now, getting all angry and frustrated about it because it's not going the way that you think that it should, or the person's not acting the way that you think that they should, or the situation isn't unfolding exactly at the time frame that you think that it should. Instead of getting upset and angry and frustrated about that, instead, what we can do is, who is the I that is trying to control this? What does this I believe it's going to get from this? Like, what is that? And just asking that, who is the I? Well, we know it's always going to be the ego I. Am I my ego? No. Am I spirit? Yes. Is spirit constantly leading me exactly where I need to go? Yes. Is everything always working out for me? And you guys heard me talk about this before. On my morning walks for 10 minutes, that's my mantra. Everything is always working out for me, not because of who I am, but because of what I am. What am I? Spirit am I, free of all limits, safe and healed and whole, innocent and provided for in all ways, free to forgive and free to save the world. Or I also like to add, everything is always working out for me, for God walks with me. God walks with me. If you don't like the word God, you can always say spirit, angels, guides, whatever works for you. Walks with me, not because of who I am, but because of what I am. What am I? Spirit am I, free of all limits, safe and healed and whole, innocent and provided for in all ways, free to forgive and free to save the world. 10 minutes just repeating that to myself. Another great mantra when it comes to control. When we start to feel like, oh, I got to be in control, is to simply say, because it's really fear just coming up. And all we have to say is, oh, I must have forgotten God walks with me. I must have forgotten. And once again, you can use spirit, you can use angels, you can use guides, you can use higher intelligence, divine compassion, the pink and purple, spaghetti monster that lives in the sky, whatever floats your boat, really. And just being like, okay, I must have forgotten that God walks with me. So I must have forgotten God's in charge, not me. Another great way of saying it. I must have forgotten God's in charge, not me. I must have forgotten that, because otherwise I wouldn't be trying to control the situation. Because if I remembered that God was in control, then I wouldn't be trying to solve this. I wouldn't be trying to do it on my own. I wouldn't be trying to figure it out, because where are we usually trying to figure things out from? From the past or from the future. And we can't solve it from either of those spaces, because one has already happened, one is yet to happen. So we can only do it from what is right here and right now. And that's where we seek for that guidance. What would you have me do? Where would you have me go? What would you have me say? And to whom? Once again, a mantra I use before I go into a grocery store, before I go and, go do a reading party, before I get on and do a live. That's my mantra. Because that, for me, is telling my ego, take a back seat. You're not invited here. What is invited is spirit. That's what I want to come through. That's what I want to speak for me and through me. And so that's just my way of really invoking that and being like, okay, Spirit, you be in charge. You tell me what to do. You tell me what to say. You tell me what energy to embody. That's it. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to decide what is good, what is bad. I just use my own discernment. And that's it. And what is discernment? This is for me. This is not. Judgment is this is good, this is bad. We want to stay away from that. That's Spirit's job, not ours. So I thank you so much for joining me. I thank you so much for being here. Of course, you can always catch the replay, as soon as this is done buffering and doing whatever it does. It's usually about, I would say 20 minutes or so. Or you can, of course, go catch the replay on my YouTube channel. And if you're interested in finding out more about me or my services, you can go check out my website, which is in the comments below, or which is in the description of the video. You can also find my YouTube channel, which is in the description of the video, where you can find other content like this, other Wisdom Wednesdays, other times when I have gone live and done live readings. Because just because I'm not reading you right here, right now, doesn't mean that you will not find some guidance that you may need to hear. So I thank you for joining me. I thank you for being here, and I will see you all soon.